Hi guys, my name is Eric Siemens, and in this video I'll be doing a political analysis of A Bug's Life, the story of an ant colony that gains freedom from its oppressors. Just to recap the story, Bug's Life is about an ant colony that's forced to gather food for an oppressive group of grasshoppers. Every year, the ants place the food they gather on an offering stone, but one time, an ant named Flick accidentally knocks the food into the water. Hopper, the leader of the grasshoppers, threatens them with consequences if they don't gather more food for winter. Flick knows that they won't be able to get enough food in time for the grasshoppers and themselves, so he goes on a journey to find bigger bugs that can help them fight back against the grasshoppers. And by the end of the film, the ant colony gains freedom from their oppressors. The main theme of A Bug's Life is fighting oppression. Bug's Life teaches us two things. First, it teaches us the tactics that an oppressor uses to maintain control over a population. And second, it teaches us the things we must do to fight back against oppression. Hopper uses two tactics to maintain control over the ant colony. Knowledge is power, and so Hopper uses propaganda and lies in order to make the ants accept the status quo, be more complacent and compliant. He tells the ants, "Now let me tell you how things are supposed to work. The sun grows the food, the ants pick the food, and the grasshoppers eat the food." All of the ants buy into Hopper's propaganda, including the queen. The queen tells Princess Ada, "They come, they eat, they leave. That is our lot in life." Another form of propaganda that Hopper uses is to make the ants feel weak, helpless, and alone. Hopper tells the ants that they are lower than dirt and that they are mindless losers. That way, even if the ants question his propaganda, they'll feel too weak and helpless to do anything about it. Hopper also knows that inevitably there will be someone who feels empowered to fight back and will question the propaganda. And so Hopper uses a second tactic. If there's anyone that rises up against him, he will incite fear by cracking down on dissent. And he will make an example of nonconformers. When Flick stands up to Hopper, the rest of the grasshoppers tell their leader not to worry because Flick is just one ant. But Hopper tells his followers, if one stands up, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1, and if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. So what Hopper does is he places Flick in front of the rest of the ant colony. He beats him up, and he tells the other ants, "Let this be a lesson to all you ants. Ideas are very dangerous things." He instills fear in the rest of the colony, so they want to rally behind Flick to overthrow him. So those are the tactics that Hopper used against the ants. Now I want to talk about what we need to do to fight back against oppressors. Flick was the only ant that was able to rally the colony to fight back. And the reason is because he possessed several key qualities that the rest of the ants did not have. First, he was a free-thinking nonconformist. He didn't accept the propaganda. He would question it, and he would offer an alternative. He told the rest of the ant colony that they are not meant to serve grasshoppers and that he'd seen the ants do amazing things. Year after year, they gathered food for themselves and the grasshoppers, and they were a lot stronger than the hoppers said they were. Another quality that Flick had is that he was brave. He wasn't well liked by the colony, and he was clumsy and not very well spoken, but he shared his ideas of his inventions to everyone, and he stood up against Hopper even when he didn't know if he'd have support. And that act of bravery is what inspired the rest of the ants to finally rise up and overthrow Hopper. So let's talk about how A Bug's Life applies to our current political situation. The United States is one of the freest countries on earth, and we enjoy many freedoms. But just because we don't live in a tyrannical authoritarian country such as North Korea or Iran, it doesn't mean that we're not being exploited. Corporations have amassed power over decades. Our market is no longer competitive. And our politicians in the Democratic and Republican parties have made rules that make it so it's almost impossible for a third party to win. In that way, no matter who the voters select, someone in the establishment always ends up on top. and that's good for corporations and for the elites. Our wages have been stagnant for decades and have not kept up with inflation. And we've lately, especially with COVID, we've been experiencing huge inflation. And oftentimes they tell us that just to tighten our pocketbooks and to take it. And other times they tell us that there's not much that we can do and that we're powerless. And oftentimes when we try to vote for third parties, we're shamed and made fun of because they are scared of us gaining power and gaining our voices back. If you want to know how the elites in this country view working class voters, watch A Bug's Life and listen carefully to how Hopper talks to the ants. He tells them, "You piece of dirt. No, I'm wrong. You're lower than dirt. You're an ant. Let this be a lesson to all you ants. Ideas are very dangerous things. You are mindless, soil-shoving losers put on this earth to serve us." To the elites in this country, working class voters are cogs in a machine. You're worker ants that are there to support their way of life. So the first way that you can regain your voice and power in our political and economic system is by breaking free of corporate news media propaganda. Networks such as MSNBC, CNN, ABC, and Fox News are there to prop up the Democratic and Republican parties respectively. They're there to establish a pro-establishment narrative. This doesn't mean that you can never watch or read corporate media. I often do it to get the facts, but you need to realize that they will selectively choose stories that prop up an establishment narrative. And their opinion pundits are biased, and they will be slanted toward an opinion that will help prop up the two-party system and push out alternative viewpoints. So what I would recommend doing is listening to independent media that doesn't get as much corporate donor money. And another thing that I would recommend doing is listening to a variety of viewpoints on news from the right and the left, even if you wildly disagree with what they're saying, because it'll expand your mind and you may be surprised that over time you may change your opinions as I have on several key issues. And lastly, I would recommend that you listen to YouTubers, because there's a lot of YouTubers on the right and the left. They're small content creators, but many of them are very good at factual reporting, and I've gained great insight from getting a variety of opinions on YouTube. The other thing that you need to do is believe in yourself and your ability to effectuate change. There are many people that are dissatisfied with the system and they feel alone, but the best thing you can do, believe in yourself and find like-minded people that feel the same way, that are tired of living in a political system where they do not have power. Because if you rally together and you work together, you and those other people can personally affect change. The third thing that you can do is to make sure that our political system is more competitive so that we can get third parties in power. Because the two parties have so much power that no matter what issues you believe in, oftentimes you will not be able to get those issues passed. And so what we need to do is completely alter our political system. And so there are two ways that we can make changes. The first is through ranked choice voting, and the second is through ballot initiatives. So basically, ranked choice voting allows us to list our candidates in order of preference. So you can choose to vote for one candidate as your first choice, and then your second choice and your third choice. And I will talk about this more in another video. Basically ensures that if no one votes for your first choice candidate, your second choice will be considered. And that way, you can be able to vote for third party and not worry about voting for the lesser of two evils. And the second is ballot initiatives. Oftentimes our leaders have disappointed us, but there's a way to bypass them. In our elections, we can send in a ballot initiative, and that way the people can vote directly on issues that are important to their state. And this includes ballot initiatives for ranked choice voting. Actually, in 3 states, there are 2 states. In 2 states, there currently is ranked choice voting for all statewide and federal elections in Maine and Alaska. And that means that they will be able to have a lot more power when voting for third parties. There's actually a group in Utah called Utahns for Fair Elections that in 2024 is going to send in a ballot initiative for ranked choice voting. So what I would recommend, if you're in Utah, 2024, vote for that ballot initiative. And if you're in a state that is not planning on having such an initiative, any citizen can send in and start a ballot initiative. I think about 50% of the states allow for a ballot initiative to be sent in. And so talk to your lieutenant governor. They can often help you with the process and gather a whole bunch of people that are interested, because you personally, if you want, you could get this ballot initiative on the ballot for as soon as 2024. And so guys, those are the things that you can do to effectuate change and fight against oppression. So guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next video.